Thank you, Carl. That safety equipment worked to perfection in the explosion with Kenny Bernstein, and hopefully it won't be needed again here at the NorthStar Nationals. This is the semifinal round of Pro Stock Eliminator, the semifinal round where only 4 cars remain. It is the car of Lee Shepard in the near lane. That is the red and white car that has already locked up the Winston World Championship title. For the second season in a row, this big Camaro of Rare and Morrison with Lee Shepard, the driver, will wear the number 1, signifying the Winston World Champion title. Alongside of him, the upset winner out of South St. Paul, Minnesota, practically a hometown racer, just getting started in Pro Stock racing, is Brian Stewart. Lee Shepard has annexed the quickest elapsed time thus far of round number 1 of racing. Correction, he is the second best at a 7:93, but he has a big performance margin over Brian Stewart. Shepard went 7:93 in round number 1, Stewart an 8:12. And you say, well, that's not very quick when you compare him to the Top Fuel dragsters and the funny cars, but it is quick when you consider these started out as real cars. They are now legitimate, highly sophisticated pieces of racing equipment, costing somewhere in the neighborhoods of $30,000 to $50,000 each.
And just the pressure of Brian Stewart trying to race Lee Shepard.
Well, you saw that pressure just then as Brian Stewart left a big red light at the starting line. And it doesn't matter that he got there first as the parachutes come out for both cars. 8:16 for Brian Stewart, but the red light at the starting line cost him the race. I'll tell you, his old right or left leg on the clutch got just a little bit too nervous, and he lost it to Lee Shepard. So Lee Shepard taking home the win and moving into the finals of this first ever NorthStar Nationals. Watching again, Brian Stewart, oh, he left way ahead of him. As you can see, the car is practically past the starting line completely before Lee Shepard even moved. So there was no doubt in anybody's mind what was the thought of Brian Stewart.
Well, he had to go for it. He just went a little bit too soon.
If you'll note, an interesting thing has occurred in this Pro Stock racing. The lower elapsed time choice, the lane choice, has now seen it switch to the left lane.
That's true. That's true.
As you saw Lee Shepard just then at Blue ET, he took the left lane. Here Frank Iaconio in the left lane nearest the tower, or our camera position here on ESPN from Totowa, New Jersey. Frank Iaconio finished 3rd in the world last season. He is currently number 2 for Warren Johnson, a former Minnesota resident out of Fridley, Minnesota, now based in Norcross, Georgia. He gets the right-hand lane. He had the slower time. Iaconio had the choice. Lots of RPMs out of these 500 cubic inch engines. And the wheels in the air, but for Warren Johnson, the red light at the starting line. To no avail was his victory there at the finish as he left the red light glowing. And for Warren Johnson, he had to take a shot at it. A 7:98, the losing time for Johnson. 7:95, the winning time for Iaconio, and it was just a hairbreadth of a second, just about a heartbeat. That's what it takes to be a champion in NHRA-style championship drag racing, which is the NorthStar Nationals when we come back with the funny car semifinals here at Brainerd International Raceway. At the NorthStar Nationals at Brainerd International Raceway, a record crowd is in attendance here, including some 8,000 campers that have spent the weekend in the North Woods of central Minnesota. They've had a great time. We hope you have enjoyed all the excitement of this championship drag racing event, the inaugural NorthStar Nationals. This is the finals of Top Alcohol Dragster. From Minneapolis, Minnesota, the car nearest our ESPN camera position is Vic Anderson. His car powered by a Rodec engine, which is an aluminum racing engine that is basically a replica of a Chevrolet. Vic from Minneapolis has got to be the hometown favorite, don't you say, Marty?
Well, he's got the hometown fans behind him, but he's got to come up with about 3 more tenths of power because he ran a 692 last time. Darrell Gwynn with a 664. His competition, and that means a big edge to Darrell Gwynn.
A big margin for Gwynn. At 20 years of age, he is one of the rising superstars in this sport of Championship drag racing. He is not, he is currently number 2 in the points chase and could possibly pick up a number of points on Don Woosley, the current points leader. In fact, he was less than 40 points behind going into this event for the Winston World Champion title, and Darrell Gwynn at this point has certainly passed Don Woosley for the points lead, which will culminate, of course, in the end of the season with a nice cash award going to the top alcohol dragster champion. Darrell Gwynn needs to win right here to move into the finals of Pro Comp Eliminator at the NorthStar Nationals. Vic Anderson, near lane, Darrell Gwynn in the far lane. The power advantage continuing for Darrell Gwynn. 6.66 seconds his time. His speed, 207 miles an hour. A valiant effort by the Minneapolis, Minnesota-based car of Vic Anderson, but to no avail at 6.90 seconds, a speed of 191. So Darrell Gwynn, with his dad driving the crew truck in hot pursuit, will move into the finals of Pro Comp Eliminator. As we watch again, you see Darrell Gwynn just outpowering Vic Anderson from the start. He had a bit of a hole shot. The car in the far lane leaving just a few hundredths of a second before Vic Anderson. But the horsepower advantage of Darrell Gwynn coming into play as they near the finish line, and he extends his lead to move into the Pro Comp final.
Well, he's getting such top-end power, too. He ran a 207, a 203, and again a 207 here.
For alcohol cars, outstanding performance at the elevation of 1,300 plus feet here at Brainerd International Raceway. And the nitro burning cars using the nitromethane fuel, which is, as we said earlier, an oxygen-bearing type of fuel, allows them to dial in just more horsepower by putting in more nitro in the tank. But for the alcohol cars, they've got to finesse it. Here we come down to the finals of Top Alcohol Funny Car in a matchup. I'll tell you, this is one written in the books.
This is between number 1 and number 2 in the point standings in Alcohol Funny Car, Ace Manzo. Now, Frank got here with a 665 208 victory over Vern Most. Now, Bob Gutschalk ran a 670 at 205, beating Don Haywood in the semifinals. Manzo came into the event leading Bob Gutschalk by 356 points. So right now, a big chance for Bob Gottschalk to pick up some of that margin. He cannot go into the lead since they're meeting here in the finals, but he sure could pick up some of that right here against Ace Manzo.
Manzo, of course, the reigning Winston World Champion. He'd love to repeat. Gottschalk gets the word from his crew. Let's start it up. And he will go through the starting procedures, as does Ace Manzo.
It's a very tense time for these drivers, going through their mind exactly what they want to do, whether they want to bring it off the line a little harder this time, or in some cases with the smoking of the tires, ease up a little bit, wait till it locks up, then nail it.
With their 3-speed planetary transmissions, these cars launch very, very hard. They've got a tremendous first gear ratio, and they will come off the starting line almost as quick as their nitro-burning counterparts. The difference is in the middle and the top-end horsepower available to the nitro funny car. But Ace Manzo has mastered this alcohol competition very well, as he won the World Championship a year ago. Bob Gottschalk in hot pursuit of him this year. 300 some odd points behind coming in. They come down to the finals of Top Alcohol Funny Car. The winner of this will go into the Pro Comp finals against Darrell Gwynn.
And we should point out, Frank Manzo, as we said a little earlier, set a new Alcohol Funny Car record last week at the Popular Hot Rodding Championships with a 655, and he's been very consistent here. He qualified with a 660, then ran a 661 in first round and a 665 in the semifinals. As
Carl Olson has been pointing out, that the racetrack is just about the same on both sides, and Ace Manzo taking that right-hand lane, giving the left lane to Bob Gottschalk. I don't know that there is any difference. We've watched as the competition has proceeded in the Top Fuel Dragster, the Top Alcohol Funny Car, and the Top Alcohol Dragster, and it doesn't really seem to make much difference.
I was talking to Shirley Muldowney's crew, and they aren't worried about lane choice right now going into the finals.
Well, what a matchup that'll be, and we'll be getting to that here in just a moment on ESPN's coverage of this NorthStar Nationals. In Top Fuel Eliminator, Gary Beck will go off against Shirley Muldowney. This race is between Frank Manzo in the far lane, Bob Gottschalk here in the near lane. The winner to go against Darrell Gwynn for the overall Pro Comp Championship. cars building some heat in the engines, and listen to the RPMs come up at the starting line. Creeping forward into that final light beam, which indicates they are properly staged. Gottschalk and Manzo. You couldn't ask for a closer start. What's it like at the finish line? Frank Manzo by a half a car length. 6.60, matching his qualifying time to a losing but tremendous effort by Bob Gottschalk of a 6.67 at 205. So Ace Manzo picks up the valuable points and moves into the Pro Comp Finals here at the NorthStar Nationals. In the replay, you can see there is very little difference between the two cars as they leave the starting line. As they pass our camera position just a few hundred feet out, they were neck and neck. Then as they approach the starting line, the top end horsepower of Frank Manzo pays off. Less than a car length separating Bob Gottschalk and Frank Manzo. So it is Manzo at 6.60 seconds. He will have lane choice over Darrell Gwynn as we will be moving into the finals of Pro Comp Eliminator along with the finals of Top Fuel Eliminator in just a few moments. Right now, let's go down to one of those Pro Comp finalists, Darrell Gwynn, who's with Carl Olson.
Thanks, Dave. And Darrell, you've been racing alcohol dragsters all day long. Suddenly you're faced with racing an alcohol funny car in the final, and a very quick one at that. Ace Manzo running a 6.60 and actually getting lane choice. What are you going to do to race him?
Well, we're going to play it by ear. The dragsters will run 6.60 all day long. The funny cars usually slack off in the final a little bit. The track conditions get worse towards the end, and the funny cars usually don't stay as consistent as Frank is. He's doing a real good job. The track's really good. We're just going to give it our best shot.
Okay, thank you, and back to you, Dave.
Thank you, Carl. That sets up our final for Pro Comp Eliminator. Ace Manzo against Darrell Gwynn, and of course the finals in Top Fuel. Gary Beck against Shirley Muldowney as we come right back to Brainerd International Raceway for the finals at the NorthStar Nationals. Back at Brainerd International Raceway at the NorthStar Nationals, we're into the finals of Pro Comp Eliminator. We have watched an 8-car top alcohol dragster field, an 8-car top alcohol funny car field narrow themselves down to one dragster and one funny car. The best in both categories meeting for the overall Pro Comp Championship. The dragster backing up is Darrell Gwynn from Miami, Florida. 20 years old, now a professional racer. He started when he was a high school student. Alongside of him is the funny car of Ace Manzo. Frank Manzo won the Winston World Championship title a year ago. He has got a leg up on it after defeating Bob Gottschalk in the finals of top alcohol funny car. He will be going against Darrell Gwynn for the overall Pro Comp Championship.
And the thing to remember is Ace Manzo has been running about 5/100ths of a second quicker consistently through this race than Darrell Gwynn, and that may not sound like a lot, but it's enough for victory.
Right. It's he who gets to the finish line first. Will it be Darrell Gwynn with the dragster? Generally, the dragster's a bit more consistent than the funny cars. Ace Manzo, though, has proved consistency is his forte as he worked his way into the finals with an outstanding 6.60 seconds. All that goes out the window as we're just a few seconds away from knowing who will be the Pro Comp champion. Shot going to Darrell Gwynn, and there it is, Darrell Gwynn with the whole shot off the starting line, defeating a quicker Frank Manzo, 6.66 seconds at 205 miles an hour. Manzo a little bit quicker, but late out of the gate, 6.63 at 208 miles an hour. And for Darrell Gwynn, the reflexes of the 20-year-old pay off here at the finish line by a car length. Your champion in Pro Comp Eliminator, Darrell Gwynn. Coming up next, we'll be back with a funny car final between Al Segrini and Frank Hawley at the NorthStar Nationals at Brainerd International Raceway. The finals in Pro Stock Eliminator at the NorthStar Nationals pit a pair of Chevrolets, the two best in the world at the moment. In the near lane, it will be the red and white car of the man that has already locked up his second consecutive Winston World Championship title. That is Lee Shepard. Frank Iaconio in the red, yellow, and white entry from Totowa, New Jersey, is right alongside of him in the lane furthest from our camera position. Marty, this is anybody's race. If you had to take a guess, I'd say Lee Shepard, but that's purely conjecture at this moment.
Well-track consistency over the past 6 race times that these guys have met. Lee Shepard has beat Frank Iaconio 5 times.